Yeah, just eating my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Pez from back in the day. And this reminds me of when I was a kid, back in the early 90s, and I was really into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? The TMNT? They are a superhero team of sorts, of fighting teenage mutated turtles that learn the art of ninjutsu, and they fight bad guys. When I think about it, it brings me back to when I saw the movies, the animated series, the video games at the arcade, and some of the toys, but also brings me back to when I got my first Game Boy. Yes, this is my first Game Boy. A little bit damaged, but it still runs and it still works fine. It's still one of my favorite things in my video game collection just because it was my first Game Boy. That's a big deal, and I'm really happy that I still have it. And what was one of those first games that I got for the Game Boy back in the day? Well, I got two games. I got Super Mario Land, a classic. Yes, that's one most people had back in the day. Either that or Tetris. And for me, what I got was this game right here. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Fall of the Foot Clan. Whoa! But wait a minute, Kevin, you can't review for the Game Boy. That's too small. The screen will never fit on an HD YouTube resolution. Well, that's okay, because we've got something called the Super Game Boy. Yes, the Super Game Boy. And you can use this to put in any Game Boy original carts, not the color ones, and not Game Boy Advance. You can play them on your Super Nintendo. So we know about Ninja Turtles, we know the movies, the TV series, the characters, we know all about this series. But what about the Game Boy game specifically? Fall of the Foot Clan. What does that have to offer separate from the rest of the series, and what does this do specifically? Well, Fall of the Foot Clan is a 2D side-scrolling action game for the Nintendo handheld, the Game Boy. And this game was released in 1990 by Konami, also released as Ultra Games, and this is a game that features some great music, some great gameplay, and it's a really simple game in terms of difficulty. And that's one of the downfalls of this game, is that it's really simple and really short. But as I'll talk about in a few moments, the difficulty and the shortness of this video game don't really affect its replayability or how much I like this game overall. And there's some specific reasons why. When you put in the game pack and you turn on your Game Boy and you start playing, this game starts out pretty simply, and you can kind of get a feel that this is going to be short on the cutscenes, heavy on the gameplay, but you don't really get a sense of how long it's going to go on for. When you first turn on the game, there's a brief cutscene that details the basic story of the game, which is the Ninja Turtles having to rescue April. You get a sense that she's at the very end of the game, and that you have to complete level after level, boss after boss, enemy after enemy, until you reach the end of the game and rescue April to save the game and save the day. This Rescue the Princess style storyline is very familiar to Nintendo gamers of the 80s and early 90s because Nintendo used it in a lot of their video games such as Donkey Kong, Super Mario Bros., and The Legend of Zelda. To begin the actual game, you start by selecting a Ninja Turtle. Yes, there are all 4 Ninja Turtles here. There's Leonardo the leader, Raphael, Michelangelo, and Donatello are all included. My longtime favorite Ninja Turtle, Donatello, is who I use mostly in this game. Not just because of the purple, but because he's more of a tech guy. He likes to think things out and make a plan before he jumps into action. And I always like that he uses a wooden staff for his weapon. Everybody else has metal, but he can keep his own and hold his own in a fight with just a wooden staff. And I thought that was really cool. And in some games, such as Ninja Turtles for the NES, you might get an advantage at some parts with Donatello. In this game, it seemed like no matter what turtle I played, the gameplay was very slightly identical. It's just barely different. It's kind of hard to emphasize, but when you play it, you'll kind of get the same feeling. But back to the gameplay. Once you selected your turtle, such as Donatello, you have another decision to make. You have to choose a level. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What? All 5 levels are available from the start? This isn't a saved file that I'm loading. This is the main game. There actually is no save data. So you have all 5 levels to choose from. I've heard that if you complete the game starting from a later level, such as 2 through 5, you don't get the true ending. And if you do choose to start from level 2 through 5, once you complete a level, you don't get to choose another level again. So think about it carefully and think about it wisely when you're choosing a level at the very beginning. You won't get a chance to change the level again. Starting with level 1, you are at the city streets at nighttime, and this is an ideal place for the Ninja Turtles to protect the city. The gameplay is pretty basic for a 2D side-scrolling action game, and the controls are fairly simple because on the Game Boy you just have the D-pad and B and A. So when you're playing, you have the ability to jump, or the ability to attack. The basic controls for attacking are very simple in this game, but they are different than the NES games of Ninja Turtles, and different than the arcade games as well. You have a single button attack, which will do for most enemies in the game, destroying them with just one hit. Even the boss fights, you have to attack them by using your normal attack. Additionally, you have the option to press down an attack to allow you to throw ninja stars. This is a ranged weapon, and while the screen space is actually fairly small, so you won't be needing to use this too often, it is there, and it can help you in a bind if you see an enemy coming towards you and you want to throw a ninja star at them. You have that option. They're unlimited, they're not an ability, they're just an extra attack. So it's pretty cool if they have those, but you won't be using them too much. They do less damage than your normal attacks, so certain enemies, if you kill them with a ninja star, you might have to hit them more than once. Also, with bosses, it usually deflects off the boss with a ninja star throw, so that attack won't help you on the boss fights, just your normal attack. There isn't too many different enemy types in this game, but they do come on very frequently, and you get to learn their attack patterns and styles early on. Some of the enemies don't appear till later stages, but you still get a chance to fight them enough to learn their attack moves, and how to dodge them, and how to destroy them. One of the enemy types in this game is the Foot Clan Soldier. These evil ninjas, guided by the Shredder, are out to attack the Ninja Turtles at any site. Now these guys have a really weird attack pattern. Most of the time they're just jumping at you. They're like throwing their whole bodies at you in their direction, trying to attack you no matter what. And so most of the time you attack these guys, they're flying through the air at you. So you gotta be careful to hit them right before they come at you. This is especially true on later stages because they're really flying at you from all directions. They're throwing enemies at you in this game. Some other enemy types include flying missiles, which will dive bomb at you. There's also flying robots, which will hover and try to attack you that way. And there's also Mousers from the animated series, so you'll recognize a lot of these characters and enemy types from the cartoon series. This does have a lot of basis from the cartoon series of the early 90s and late 80s. So this game will be very familiar to longtime Ninja Turtles fans. They even included a Game Boy chiptune rendition of the Ninja Turtles theme song. Yes, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles original animated series theme song is present in this game in the first level, and it sounds great. Being a Konami game, the game's music composer, Michiru Yamane, did an awesome job with the entire game's soundtrack. Not just the TV series rendition, but the entire soundtrack. And Michiru Yamane would go on later to create awesome soundtracks for the games Castlevania Bloodlines, Symphony of the Night, and many other Castlevania games, so she's very good in this game, and this is one of her first games that she ever did. Throughout this game, there are hidden minigames, secret areas you can find that transport you to a minigame screen where you play that short minigame, and you can earn extra health for your character. These minigames are really tricky to find, one of the trickier aspects of the game because you don't see where the minigames are before you enter them. You just jump into a blank spot on the screen, and you're transported to a minigame. And of course, at the end of each level, there is a boss fight. And these boss battles are pretty simple in this game. They're basically hit the boss, dodge the boss, hit the boss and dodge the boss until you win. And most of these boss fights only take 3 or 4 hits to destroy the boss. The boss battles in this game include Bebop, Rocksteady, Baxter Stockman, Shredder, and the evil Krang. Whoa, that's an awesome list of awesome Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles characters that you have to fight throughout this game. That's a solid list at that. You have a pretty big health meter in this game, and you can refill it by finding pizza scattered throughout the levels. But if your turtle runs out of health, you are taken out of the game, and you can't use that turtle for the rest of the game. You are then forced to switch to another Ninja Turtle to complete the rest of that level. That is it. You have completed the game of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Follow the Foot Clan for the Game Boy. Now this ends with a short cutscene. You do rescue April, you get reunited, she's safe and sound, and the game credits roll. Now we've talked about the basics of the game, let's get into some nitty-gritty specifics of Fall of the Foot Clan. What makes this game great, and what makes this game worth buying for your Game Boy? This game is good for a pick-up-and-play game. Okay, I understand a lot of Game Boy games you can pick up and play. The game's a handheld system, and if you think about it that way, the Game Boy being handheld and portable, and just a quick play experience, if you want a game that has solid gameplay, solid controls, and a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles style in this action, 2D, side-scrolling experience, this is the perfect game for you. I'm not even kidding. This is an awesome game. Really good game, but it's short, it's quick, it's simple. But that's a good thing because it's on the Game Boy. If this was for Super Nintendo, or if this was for the NES, I would not say this about it because that would be a console experience. That'd be something you want to play for an hour or more. This game entirely took me about 22 to 25 minutes to complete fully, and that's without hardly any experience. I haven't played this game in about 20 years. So with Fall of the Foot Clan, you've got a simple, quick pick-up-and-play experience. Like I said at the start, you can select any of the 5 levels to continue from or start from when you begin the game. You've got 4 turtles to choose from, you've got an easy difficulty which you can't change, and you've got lots of really fun gameplay in this. Not just the main game, but you gotta look for the secret hidden mini-games, which, you know, Tetris was a popular game on the Game Boy, and with those mini-games, they're all puzzle-style mini-games, kind of board game-ish, puzzle-y game, and those are in this game as well. It would have been cool if they added an option to play those mini-games from the main menu as sort of a tie-in, trying to take on the Tetris crowd, but it doesn't do that, but they're still included in the game, and the levels are short enough you can find those mini-games on a specific level by starting on that level from the beginning. Even without thinking about it as a handheld game, the game is a solid experience. The controls are just as good as anything on the NES. You have the ability to throw a throwing star whenever you want. You don't have to pick up a power-up. You've got all 4 Ninja Turtles, and they all have their own unique weapons, which are all pretty similar in the gameplay, but the graphic style is different, so you can tell it's them. You've got awesome cutscenes which are animated. Sure, it's green on the Game Boy, or black and white, you know, but it is still having some really nice character artwork for those cutscenes. The soundtrack is amazing. Michiru Yamane of Castlevania fame doing the Ninja Turtles theme song. How awesome is that? This is the start of her career in Konami games. This game is a solid game in your Game Boy library, and it's actually a very relatively inexpensive game even today. So, there's no reason for you not to pick it up if you're a Game Boy lover or a fan of Ninja Turtles. Now I've been saying all this good stuff about the game, is there anything really negative about it? Well, that depends. Do you want a long console experience? Do you want an arcadey experience where you have to continue to play and continue to play? Do you want a multiplayer experience with your Ninja Turtles? There's no multiplayer in this game at all, even with the Game Link cable. Sure, you can switch off when a turtle is defeated and so on, but there's no straightforward multiplayer like Turtles in Time or Hyperstone Heist, or the arcade game. And although it's not a multiplayer game and it's a simpler experience, you should know that jumping into the game. When you get this game, you probably already know it's going to be smaller on the Game Boy. You probably already know it's going to be a little more simplified than something on Super Nintendo, for example. And you probably already know that it's not going to be multiplayer like the arcade game. So with that going into the game, you don't need all that extra stuff. The other games already did that and are doing that at the time this game came out in the early 90s. So this is a good game if you want to bring a single player experience to your handheld of Ninja Turtles. So basically, the only major gripes are that it's short and pretty easy. But if you look at it on the flip side, that's not really that bad of a thing, and it's not really a deal breaker either. You see, on Happy Bird Games, we like to keep things positive. Yes, positive. You have to think about the negatives on the flip side and see what really makes them great, not what makes it bad. So in that regards, Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan is a great game to have in your Game Boy library. It's a short, quick adventure that will provide you lots of fun because it's a solid game with nice gameplay. That was it for my review of Ninja Turtles Fall of the Foot Clan. If you like this video, please be sure to leave it a like share it with your friends on social media, leave me a comment, let me know what you think, and subscribe to How You Wear Games for more classic gaming goodness. And if you want to check me out on various social media, I have an Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter page as well. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Bye!